I actually overdosed one night and my heart stopped 3 times, and they had to resuscitate me and keep me in a bathtub with cold water. And when I woke up the next day, my face was completely smashed up because of how I was falling around in the road. Somebody happened to find me and know where I had lived and take me back home. Hi, my name is Salome. I'm a 23-year-old currently residing at Hope Again Recovery Centre in Potchefstroom. My story started quite a young age. I was about 14 when I started experimenting with things like marijuana, and it escalated very quickly. At the age of 15, I was using experimental drugs like ecstasy, MD, acids, those types of things. And by the age of 16, I was using cocaine, and cocaine stuck with me. It became almost like a comfort space for me. It became a best friend in my life. Everything I did, I always wanted to do was just a line or two at my side. But I never considered it being an issue because I could go days without it. And then I got into a very serious relationship. And 3 years into my relationship, I was pregnant with my son. And I had a very difficult pregnancy. I was hospitalized probably about 7 times, went into preterm labor 3 times. And through my pregnancy, probably at around about 4 months of pregnancy, I started taking my first couple of lines of cocaine and having a couple of drinks with friends on the side, which was an issue. And in my mind, I then came to realize that my problem was a lot bigger than what I thought it was, because I couldn't even dedicate 9 months of my life to stay sober on the behalf of somebody else's life, to keep my own child's life safe. The father of my son and I decided to split up because we came to realize that we were just toxic for one another. As much as we were both good people, we weren't good together at all. And I think probably about 2 months after we split up, I got into a new relationship with somebody else. I was longing for love. I was struggling with feeling alone, like I'm a single mom and I can't do this on my own anymore. So I jumped into the first love that came my way, and it was also just all fun and games. And we went on holiday together, me and this guy. And on the first night of the holiday, we won like 3,000 Rand at a gambling. And we wanted to go buy ourselves a bag of Coke. And there was no Coke available in the area, but there was meth available. So I smoked meth for the first time that night. And I smoked it every day since then. I didn't stop. I continued smoking meth. That also became my life. It became my fuel. I was diagnosed with anorexia at quite a young age, around 16 as well, which I managed with a lot of help and support through my family and through counselors as I got older. But when I realized that meth was making me lose weight very quickly, I fell straight back into that anorexia again. It became the thing that just brought so much joy to my life. Because I was living in a fantasy world where everything was based on, if I can't do it with meth at my side, I can't do it at all. And I didn't have to eat if I smoked meth. I didn't have to sleep. So now I'm a single mom. I'm the only one working, trying to support my son and myself. So if I smoke meth, then at least I can still get up and go work in the morning, and I can still look after my son, and I can still do all of those things and still maintain this relationship of mine that I was in. And then I got pregnant in that relationship as well. And I was probably about 3 months pregnant and I lost the baby. So after I lost the baby, I started smoking Mandrax. And after smoking Mandrax, that just became another thing that I couldn't go without. In the mornings when I woke up, it was the first thing I had to do before I could carry on with my day. And in that relationship, eventually after we lost our daughter, my partner decided he wanted to get clean and he didn't want to live this life anymore. But to me, my drugs were more important. My drugs were more important to me at that point than anything. I wasn't treating my family with respect and kindness. My son became the second best, above anything and all. I moved on and I moved in with a friend of mine. And as much as we had so much love in our hearts for one another, we suffered with the same illness. We were both addicts. And I started escorting. And that became a whole new lifestyle for me. I became friends with horrible people who might have good hearts, but they were involved in such horrible, dark things that I got trapped in this dark world that they were living in. I was hanging around with gangsters. I signed on paper to get married to a hitman, because they owned me at that point, because I was making a lot of money. And because I was making money and they were supplying drugs, the two went hand in hand, and I was living my perfect life. And because I was making a lot of money, I thought I was living the best life, because I had a nice car and we had a nice house and we had food in our fridge all the time, even though we weren't even eating it. I had these people that I always had around me, people that I actually thought I fit in with, because we were all the same. We were all busy doing the same things. And so my life just became a lot darker and a lot crazier. I was busy sitting in learning how to put hits out on people. I was having to call hits out on my dad that they were putting out because he was busy asking questions at the wrong places. Having to bail criminals out of prison and being the one to pay for it. Otherwise, I'm the one that's in danger, and they put a hit out on me. And at that point, I refused to see my son. I actually told my family he needs to become non-existent in my life, because I was so afraid for his life, because these people will do anything for money. And I'm already what brings them their money. And if I don't give them the money that they need when they need it, I don't know what they could do. Or I do know what they could do, which made it even scarier. So I actually just ended up getting very stuck into this world. And then I actually went from smoking meth to spiking it, because it was a lot easier and it was a lot quicker and the high lasted a lot longer. And that's when things just took a turn for the south completely. I lost so much weight. I weighed about 40 kilograms. I was barely even human. I had no contact with my family anymore. When they were away on holiday, I would go break into their house and I would steal their stuff and I would sell it. I stole my sister's camera, diamonds from my mom's wedding ring. I was just doing anything I could to make the money I needed to be able to get my next fix. And I was so obsessed with this life that I was living that it didn't matter to me what it would cost me, whether it would cost me my family, whether it would cost me my son, whether it would cost me my life. My heart stopped 3 times one night when I overdosed on liquid G. I started taking liquid G every 3 hours of the day. And without it, eventually I couldn't function. So I actually overdosed one night and my heart stopped 3 times, and they had to resuscitate me and keep me in a bathtub with cold water. And when I woke up the next day, my face was completely smashed up because of how I was falling around in the road. Somebody happened to find me and know where I had lived and take me back home to my home where my friends were, and all they could do was pretty much keep me alive. They didn't want to phone an ambulance or police or my family, because they didn't want anybody to know what was actually busy going on there. Eventually we were poaching plants and selling them and keeping these plants in our house and stealing laptops and stealing cell phones, threatening people with their lives, emptying the bank accounts of the clients that were coming in, drugging them up so high that they don't know what's going on, and then going into their phones and emptying out their bank accounts, beating them up and then sending them home to whoever they were going home to. Costing people their jobs, because if they didn't pay us in time, we would phone their workplaces. Just really starting to become scary people in a scary world. And then my parents used to stop outside my house every night at 7:30 and pray. And I used to see them and I would just draw my curtains and say, I'm not dealing with this. I don't need to see this happening every single night. And one night my mom said to me, like, we will pay for you to go to rehab. Well, they found someone that would pay for me to go to rehab if I decide to do it. And it was just a matter of no, I'm not even considering that. Then the rehab started contacting me themselves and saying to me, like, please, like, there's a space for you. We would really be able to help you if you'd consider this. And I still refused to go. And then one day, the friend I was living with, she was supposed to get out of bed to go to a court case to fight for just supervised visits with her own child. And that morning when she couldn't get out of bed and I had to watch her get arrested, I just thought to myself, this is going to be me. In the next couple of weeks, if not days, this will be me. I will be the mother that cannot even show up to a court date for a supervised visit with my own child. And I phoned my mom and I said, it's time, I'll go. Phoned my dad actually, and I said, it's time, I'll go. So they came, they fetched me, and within 2 days I was on an airplane and I came to Potchefstroom. And yeah, I came to Hope again. And it's definitely the best thing I've ever decided to do for myself. I haven't only met myself, I've met Jesus, which is a life changer. And in my opinion, the only way to break free from addiction and to break free from loneliness, to break free from not feeling loved, to break free from not feeling like you're worth something. I believe we've all been created with a void inside of us that we will try and fill, but that void was placed there specifically for us to fill it with the love of God. And that is the only way you'll ever find that comfort and that peace inside of you, is if you find God and you really just lay your life down at His feet, because the peace that He will breathe into you is a peace that I cannot explain. It hasn't necessarily made life only easy. It's difficult to be a Christian. It's difficult to give your life to God, but it's so worth it. And I would recommend it to somebody who's not even just in addiction, just anybody who might be struggling with anything. If you lie at the feet of the Lord, I promise you that there will be an answer to your questions that you're asking.